How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad.
Had loads on this week. Prepping for recording day as always. Like lastminute.com. Getting ready for holidays. And that was the day the kids, honestly, I cannot even tell you what a horrible
Hard
day it
was
was yesterday.
Yeah, it's like they know.
It was
just
like
have
they
this
know.
radar,
Like
don't they?
Al just woke up in the most horrible humor. Honestly, before 9 a.m, I was shook. Like I was actually shaking. Like every part of my body and every sense I had was like overstimulated. Then all day long, my son, he's got more teeth coming through. He was just whingy, clingy, crying. Then I was planning to do so much in his naps. Obviously, he wasn't having a nap that day.
Yeah.
And I literally was like, in that moment, I was like, oh, do you know, like I was so drained by the end of yesterday. I was so overstimulated. I was like, it was one of the really hard days that I thought it perfectly encapsulated, you know, what we're talking about today, which is just like, we called it, I had a baby, not a lobotomy, because the amount of times I say that when people are like, but you asked for this and you wanted to have kids. And I'm like, of course I did. But I had a baby, not a lobotomy. Like I'm still me.
Yeah.
And that person didn't go away. Like obviously they've changed a bit.
Yeah.
And you and I have so many conversations with women and parents, right? Let's not leave the men out here.
Yeah.
And you talk about certain aspects of it. And the amount of times I keep hearing, oh, Nicky, I'm so glad you said that. I'm so glad you shared that. And I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm the only one.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad and frightening to think how many people still feel like they're the only one.
Yeah.
Right. So today we're kind of opening the Pandora's box around the good, the bad, the ugly.
Yep.
I think everyone knows we all love our children.
Yeah.
Right. But like all love, it is complex. And a lot of today we'll be talking about some of the shit things.
Yeah.
And that does not mean we don't adore being mums and parents and we don't adore our kids.
Yeah.
But I think we've both agreed that we need to open the narrative a little bit more around some of the stuff that isn't talked about enough.
Yeah.
And there's still a bit of shame around, I think, right?
I think that's where the inspiration for our name, our podcast came from. Motherloading. It's like the load that mothers carry just in general can be extremely large.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
right.
yeah.
But I mean, okay, talk through your motherhood journey, because ours, they're obviously different.
Yes. And we were just saying, weren't we, before that I'm now on nearly the brink of having a new one because my son's nearly 8.
Yeah.
So I feel like I obviously remember being a new mum, but it was a while ago. And I know I've got that to come.
Yeah.
And I'm very fortunate and glad that I've got you and, you know, other women in my life that will, you know, help me through the trenches.
Yeah.
Motherhood for me was, I say to people who are, say, pregnant with their first or whatever, it's the most beautiful state of exhaustion. You are so in awe. I was so in awe. I was so in love. I was so tired. I thought, wow, I've never been tired before in my life. And it was very much when I say like a solo job, I just took the role of doing everything.
Yeah.
But you know, like you've just said in the intro there, how overwhelming it is to be the one that sorts this and sorts this and sorts this. Majority of my girlfriends are the same, you know, the load is heavy. But I often will say, do we sometimes, are we taking over the mother load to our own detriment sometimes? Like, are we doing everything and it kind of leaves nothing for our partner to do?
It's a really good question.
I do definitely
think
did
this,
that.
Yeah, I do think this generation of mothers has been asked to do more than ever before. In the sense, not just more in mothering, right?
In
but
life.
in life.
Yeah.
As in, work like you don't have kids, have kids like you don't work.
Yeah.
Work out, put nice shit on Instagram, whatever. I know that sounds very fickle, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Be everything to everyone.
Yep.
But actually, to your point, are we feeding the beast? Like, does it take us to stand back and go, no, I'm sorry.
I believe so.
I draw the line.
Yes. I think sometimes it comes with setting boundaries, not even for other people, but for yourself.
Yeah, I agree.
You have to say no.
Yeah.
And I have done a lot of work because I I was such a yes person all through my childhood, when I was a teenager, early 20s.
Yeah.
I was the one that was depleted. So then when it came to having children, when it came to having Lenny, I just did, like I say, like absolutely everything. And I was having this conversation with one of my sisters the other week. If someone asks me to do something or to help, and my plan that day was to do nothing, that is still a plan.
Yeah.
My plan to do fuck all, that is a plan, actually. And you have to be okay. We have to be okay with, you have to be at peace and calm with doing nothing.
Yeah.
And I think setting that boundary for yourself before setting the boundary for other people is essential.
Yeah.
Because we can do too much.
That was the shocker for me. So if I look at my journey, obviously it was an incredibly hard journey to get pregnant, right? So I was pregnant. I had a really good pregnancy. You are thankful, but I naturally had all these reservations. I am an educator, so I was like listening to podcasts, reading books, like, getting all my routines. I have to have it, even though everyone was like, none of this shit will work. Like when the baby comes, you'll just go with flow, which is what I did. But it makes me feel better to be prepared. And I was assuming I was going to feel awful. And I was assuming I was going to be so tired and I would have postpartum depression and all the rest. When I had Al, it was all hormonal. I was on another level of oxytocin. Like, really? I had no baby blues. I had energy, like the adrenaline. It was just adrenaline and oxytocin. I was like, go, go, go. And in that newborn bubble, I could not have been happier and I could not have been less tired.
Oh, I love
and
that.
I was talking to a friend of mine who had a very opposite experience when she first had it first. And she was like, but it's okay to feel like this and it's okay to feel like that. But I didn't. And I was like, I was trying to empathize with her because I think she was looking to me to be like, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't quite relate. And I was going to baby groups and like, mums were tired and disheveled. And, I'd have her hair and makeup done because Elle was an amazing sleeper. And I'm like, what's everyone talking about? This is grand. This is ace. Now, obviously, as she got older, there are things where it's mindlessly relentless at certain points. Cue to baby number 2. I was hit by a freight train.
Oh, God.
It's probably karma for being so bloody smug.
Yeah.
I called that friend who called me with Elle, and I was like, I completely understand what you're talking about now.
Right.
And I absolutely could relate to that it was despair. Like, my son was really unsettled from the very beginning. He had horrendous reflux and colic. And any parent who's listening to this that's gone through that, the minute you say those words to another parent who's been, they like hug you because they're like, oh my God. Okay. The screaming, he didn't sleep, as you know, for a year. So I was in this utter sleep deprivation.
It's the worst.
That got met by my really delightful, gorgeous baby turning into the craziest toddler. Like, she hit 2s at 100 miles an hour and we all knew about it. And, there was obviously, she was adapting to a new baby coming. She's a very spirited individual. So it just felt like it was happening all at once for me. And I went from being, this cool, super calm, like Zen mum, to really a lot of the time feeling so overstimulated and so drained. And just, I found it really hard. And there were moments that I was like trying to reach out to people because I wasn't quite sure what was bordering postpartum depression and what was just sleep deprivation, right? And there was plenty of times I almost went to the doctor. Now I didn't, and I'm not saying you shouldn't. The reason I didn't is because I was doing some self-care things myself, and I was very conscious of how I was feeling.
Yeah.
And the amount of times, like, I could read you some text messages that I sent to Mark, just being like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I feel so low and I feel so sad. But then the next day I could feel great. It was the roller coaster, right? And then finally I did reach out to friends and family of just saying, I'm having a really hard time. Now, you would never probably know by looking at, say, my Instagram and stuff. And not that I wasn't lying, because all the happy memories I put up did exist, because as you know, I'm a doer. So I was like, I cannot feel this bad. It was a big reason why we started this podcast, because I almost felt like a fraud that I was putting this stuff up that didn't show the other side.
Yeah.
It didn't show the flip side. And in my mind, I was like, and I did try to allude to it in certain like posts I would do. I'd like put up something funny and I was hoping people would read between the lines. But I was like, it feels wrong. It feels wrong. But why would a random me who was nobody start putting up like my kids
Like
screaming, me going, I can't handle it anymore. People would be like, thought I'd lost my mind, which is, I think, so much of why we wanted to do this, to talk about that other side. And that it is normal, because I felt a lot of shame to say how I felt, because the amount of people that would say to me, don't you love every minute? Don't you feel so lucky because you tried so hard to have the babies?
Yeah. And does that make you just feel crap?
Yeah. And I would be like, oh God, I need to pretend. And it wasn't that I wasn't loving it, but you could not love it sometimes.
Yeah.
And there is also so many other things at play, like your hormones, stuff that you have no control over, the sleep deprivation. I mean, what that does. Didn't they say? You
just didn't have any sleep though.
None.
None.
I think I did really well to keep going. Like I was still going to the gym when I was moving.
You would show up at the gym looking amazing and be like, I haven't slept. And I was like, wow, you look incredible.
Well, thank you.
There is nothing can prepare you until you have it. Nothing. I remember having Lenny and going through these times, and one of my closest friends who I've been friends with since I was 4, she's got 5. Crazy. Yeah, she got 5. And she would have had more, but anyway, so she's got 5. And I would be on the phone to her and I'd be like, why didn't you tell me that? And she said, because, like I went to, and it works for some people, baby yoga, pregnancy yoga, and, birthing meditations and like, look at the golden thread. And like, I'd come home and be like that to her. Oh, I've just been to this lovely like meditation and I'm just going to picture that golden thread when I'm like contracting. And she said she'd just sit there and go,
sure.
Oh, lovely. Like, what's the point in her telling me any of the stuff that she knows I'm going to face anyway?
But if you have 5, right? Like you, I wanted loads of kids.
Yeah.
But going from 0 to 1, not a transition for me. A lot of people find 0 to 1 the hardest.
Yeah.
Going from 1 to 2 was an absolute shit show.
Right.
Now, a gorgeous shit show, but shit show all the same, right? And then I'm like, who goes from 2 to 3? And then
4, 5, 6.
5.
So,
like, is it because they didn't have as intense, challenging kids as like their kids were just sleepers, chill, like whatever, or they just forgot about it and kept going?
I think,
like,
don't they say like, but going from 2 to 3 is like, whoa. And then once you go to 4 or 5, you've got yourself a little team there that kind of, it's like what I said before about Lenny going to be with his cousins. It kind of becomes, they kind of play. And like,
but that's a long time in, because like we're talking about motherhood and there are phases, right? So we've talked about the newborn, the tiredness, the sleep deprivation.
Yeah, I just can't.
Then you get into the toddler phase.
Yeah.
And for me, for my daughter, I found that really hard.
Yeah.
She was a very chill baby. And then from 18 months to 2 onwards, the tantrum started. She's so irrational, the emotional roller coaster. And maybe because I had kids later in life, I'd spent so long learning balance and calm, and I had started to really embrace that in my life, that all of a sudden going into the least calm environment, which is mental.
Yeah.
And everyone, like, you listen to these podcasts or you look online and they're talking about, the left-hand side and the right-hand side of a toddler's brain, and, don't get angry because they don't have control of their emotions and blah, blah. I get all that. And I do try and do all that validation and gentle parenting and all the rest. But I'm also a human being.
Yeah.
And when it has been a year of every day is a battle to
Yeah.
get dressed.
Yeah.
I don't want to wear knickers. I want to wear knickers. I want to wear my Frozen dress with my Moana dress on top. And then I have to wear my Little Mermaid knickers underneath. And then I have to wear 5 crowns. And like the crown isn't sitting on her head the right fucking way. And like literally I'm like, breathe.
Really
And then
hard.
we're about to walk out the door and she's had a complete change of mind. And we have to go through the whole cycle all over again.
Yeah.
And she has sensory issues, and I know I should be really like sympathetic to that.
Yeah.
But it is like, it is just hard when you're so tired, you're sleep deprived, you just need to get out the door, you're running late.
Yeah.
Like, do you know, she will light on fire one day. She's highly fucking flammable at all times. And if she does pick her own clothes, obviously nothing is matching.
Yeah.
She wants to wear everything she shouldn't. So like yesterday she went to nursery in a swimsuit.
Right.
And she arrived and I was like, I'm sorry. I just had to get her out.
Yeah.
I was like, her clothes are in the bag. Can you just deal with it?
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, no worries. And it's like she knows what she can't have and wants that.
Yeah.
You know, and she is fucking with me. I know she is.
Yeah.
It's not all sensory stuff.
Yeah. And there is a bit of pressure these days, isn't there? Like the whole calm parenting and the rationalising and the, talk to mummy about your big emotions. And I just think, I do like to think when I'm not pregnant, I've got quite a lot of patience. It was my background in teaching. I couldn't just holler, scream at a class of kids all day long.
No.
It doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
So I do have those skills I appreciate to lean back on. But sometimes, like everything in life,
We're human.
There's balance.
Yeah.
And I think if I've told you 3 times calmly to do something, listen, I'm going to shout it at you.
Yeah.
And you'll listen. And that's just me.
Yeah.
And I never have. There's probably been a couple of times when he was really small that I really lost my cool. And afterwards I thought, but I'd say to any of my friends and my sister, like my sister will text sometimes and go, I feel really awful. I really lost my shit before. She's got 3. And I'm like, don't feel bad. You are a human being and we all have a limit and we all have a maximum and we all have a breaking point. And I think it's just as important sometimes to lose your shit and then go back to your child and go, I lost my temper before and I apologise for that. And I will always make sure that is something I discuss with Lenny. So when he loses his temper and he loses it, he can go, oh, but I'm just going to go back now because I'm going to model what my mum does. And I think that's an important part as well because
really important.
Almost staying calm all the time, you're setting your child up to almost feel bad for feeling those emotions that are big and snapping and shouting. Like, just show them that it's part of being a human being. It's part of life.
Yeah.
It's like, this is a kind of going off on a tangent, but in school, when a child would make a sad choice, for example, and I would discuss it with the parent after, occasionally the parent would make an excuse or tell me, that didn't happen, that's not my kid. And I'd be like, listen, it's part of the life and it's part of you making excuses for your child or pretending that thing did not happen. You are missing out an integral part of their development and their learning because they need to feel remorse, a little bit of shame sometimes to then apologise and make things better. It's just part of life. Like everything's like, it's circular. There's circles to everything. And it goes with that, the emotions of losing your shit.
So true. It's so true.
Lose your shit.
Yeah.
Because then your kid will lose their shit and they know what to do.
Yeah. But I still think there is absolutely still shame around losing your shit game.
Yeah.
And that was the thing that I think I struggled with the most. Because like you, I would count myself as being a pretty patient person.
Yeah.
I'm a calm person. I know I'm a big personality, but I actually don't like confrontation. I'm not a shouty person at all. Mm-hmm. And it was, nobody had really prepared me for this. And it was, I think you had sent me something about this recently and I could not have related to it more. One of the hardest part of motherhood for me was being introduced to a version of myself that I did not like at all.
Yeah.
And accepting it.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen that often.
Yeah.
And I know from friends of mine, it happens more often for them. And they voice note me and they're like, there's so much guilt there is so much guilt, and they're like, I feel awful. I feel like I'm fucking them up and blah, blah, blah. And I'll message back and tell a story about something that happened with Elle. And again, what we talked about earlier, they say, oh, thank God, I feel like I'm the only one. Let's not shame people for feeling angry, getting the rage, snapping at their kids in whatever context that is, obviously within reason, right?
Yeah.
It happens to us all. And the more we kind of say to our mums groups or our friends or as parents, and the guys to their friends and to our own parents, I really lost my cool the other day. And like, you know, I remember being in the car and like Sebby's screaming. I was like, mommy. And the repetitiveness. And I literally was like, all of a sudden I just went, shut the fuck up! Like screamed it. The two kids just went silent. And like Elle was like, mommy, that wasn't very kind. That wasn't very, and I'm like,
I just told you.
Yeah.
You weren't listening.
Yeah. And I did go back. When I did calm down, I did go back and apologize to her. And I said, I was like, Mummy's really sorry for shouting. I shouldn't. Because to your point, I think modelling. And Mark was like, why are you apologising? Like, you're the mum. Set boundaries.
No,
I was like,
really
because
important.
it's really important for them to understand.
Yeah.
But I felt like the guilt I felt. And there's been times where I've just been so detached, disconnected, dismissive. Again, not often, but more often than I would like.
Yes.
And thank God for Mark, because I've said to him, God, like, I've been desperate to be a mum. I've always wanted to be a mum. I love being a mum. I feel like I'm amazing with kids. Like, why couldn't I have dealt with that situation better? And Mark always just looks at me and he's like, give yourself a break. You are human. You didn't sleep for the last 4 nights. Like, stop this pressure. Stop putting pressure on yourself.
Yeah.
And we all need to stop putting pressure on ourselves completely.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, what are the other things that surprised you that you think we should talk to parents a bit more about?
I guess like you've just said there, when you're regulating your child, you're actually regulating yourself. I would say like taking time to know how you are best, how you can bring yourself back down. Again, tapping into what I used to do as a teacher. We used to have to, because I worked the majority of my career was in reception, big emotions, big feelings. And we'd talk a lot about what can we do when we're angry? Is it okay to feel angry? Is it okay to feel sad? The amount of them that would go, no. And I'm like, yes, it's fine. Like, you can feel sad, you can feel mad. It's not okay to then go and punch someone.
Yeah.
I was like, but what we can do is, and we'd have these big discussions. We used to make these little glitter jars.
Okay.
So you use like, is it glycerol? Water and glitter, and when you do this and you sit and it kind of goes like a bit like a lava lamp.
Right.
So that was one of the activities I used to do with them on like the first week. And it's kind of knowing how you can stay calm and also communicating with your partner, like you said before, when I need to tap out, like I need to tap out.
I mean, nobody prepared me for the snot. The never ending snot.
Yeah.
And maybe my kids are just snottier than other kids, but like literally the sound of it makes my skin crawl now.
Really?
And like it just gives me it's just never ending.
Yeah.
Also, like when I said about Elle getting dressed, did I miss the parenting class on how to get kids dressed? Because I look at friends of mine on Instagram or in real life and they have multiple kids all wearing matching outfits.
Yeah.
Beautiful outfits. Like I bath my kids every night and they always look filthy, like feral. Like are some kids just feral or did I miss something? So if someone has any tips about how I can dress my children
kids
in really cute, nice outfits, please let me know.
I feel really lucky with that. Whether because this one's a girl and I've got a boy, whether that's different, I don't know. Lenny still lets me. I mean, he would wear a football kit every day, and when he's just going to meet mates or whatever, fine, he can wear a footy kit. He still lets me dress him. So if I said, oh, we're not going to the park, we're actually going out for food with he'll let me, because he likes to look nice.
Oh, amazing.
Because he knows that I take pride in what I look like because I like to feel good. So does Jack, so does his dad. Like, so all the people in his life, his aunties are very glamorous. He knows he feels good when he looks good, so he lets me get him ready.
Now, I know this goes against everything that we stand for, which is like, I want my daughter to be independent. I want her to make her own choices. But I also want her to wear really cute outfits.
Yeah, because you've bought us so much beautiful stuff. When you've got like a wardrobe of like beautiful Zara sets, and she just wants to wear an Elsa dress, it's like kills your soul, doesn't it?
I know. But anyway, like hopefully it'll all be worth it. And these spirited individuals.
That's such a teacher word. She's spirited.
She is spirited. I want her to be like that because I want her, and I hope she stays like that as she gets older and the world doesn't crush it out of her.
Something tells me she will.
Yeah, that she'll be independent. She can say no. She can make her own choices. Yep. Sorry, totally off topic and random, but it just came into my mind there. Do you know one of the things that nobody taught to me about when we had kids? And it's quite a specific thing.
Go on.
You know, earlier when we talked about the newborn stage and we talk about like postpartum depression, which actually can happen all the way up until I think your baby's about a year.
Yeah.
You know, it can hit you at any point.
Yeah.
So they talk about that hormone drop then. Yeah. Nobody prepared me for what happens when you stop breastfeeding.
See, I never breastfed, so this is good because I'm planning on.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I love breastfeeding. You know, thankfully I was really, really lucky that I managed now with my son because his reflux. It was a bit trickier and I did have to go to lactation consultant, and we actually would have moved to bottles sooner, but he just would not take the bottle. But anyway, that's a whole other story. But when I stopped breastfeeding, I hit this low. And it just came from left field. It completely shocked me. Like I felt like I had the flu all the time. And it wasn't mastitis. I just felt really low, like emotionally low. And I could not work it out. And I was going somewhere. I think I went to the doctor and I was like, something's not right. I need to do blood tests, blah, blah, blah. And we were talking through. And then when I was saying about that I had stopped breastfeeding, she was like, that is a time, because obviously all the hormones that you're processing for your body for your baby, just leave your body. Not one person, not one healthcare professional, like none of my friends, nobody taught me about that. And then when I actually talked about it with other people, they were like, oh yeah, I remember that. Or they were like, that's what that was.
Right.
So just, and again, it may not happen to everybody, but just kind of know that if it does, that's what it is. Like
one of my other clients at the gym, she, after you had told me that briefly when I'd seen you, she came in and was saying that she was going through certain things and that she just stopped breastfeeding, and I was like, my friend Nicky, and I told her and she went, right.
Yeah.
Like, it's mad, isn't it? The amount of stuff that we just endure.
Yeah.
And
like I read loads of books and there was nothing in there about any of that.
Yeah, because before you told me that, no one's mentioned that to me.
No. So another big thing is that we talk amongst ourselves and with friends about is the identity shift.
Yeah.
You know, and that can be so huge for women.
Yeah.
And not just the identity shift, but balancing motherhood with kind of who you are as a person and what you like to do in your personal life. What would you say to people around that?
I would say that it's okay to, it's almost like when you have a baby, part of you mourns the old you, but you are different.
Yeah.
You have created life. You have birthed life.
Yeah.
Your priorities have massively shifted. You are a different woman.
Yeah.
You're born when you give birth. And I just feel like sometimes we feel pressure to get back to the woman we were, when it's like we're ever changing, we're ever evolving, we're ever growing, and that's okay. It's like, be okay with the fact that you have changed. And also, you're going to still have elements of yourself from before. Of course you are. I remember forcing myself to have cigs in my back garden. Didn't want them. But I just wanted to grab hold of some of old Mish.
Yeah.
But this new Mish didn't particularly want to smoke.
Yeah.
Like, I should have been inside.
Yeah.
But I was trying to grab hold of her. And who's to say this new version of you isn't better?
Yeah.
Because it brings so much more new, and new doesn't have to mean bad.
Yeah.
New's just different. What about you?
I think I couldn't agree more. I also think it's really important to embrace the various versions of yourself, right?
Yeah.
So I often hear like, oh God, I can't do that. I'm a mum now. Oh, I couldn't wear that. I'm a mum now.
Yeah.
And actually, well, funny enough, like I never wore a belly top. I wore a belly top after having kids for the first time.
Yeah.
And I want to hit that 20-year-old me. But all of a sudden I was like, no, I want to feel sexy and I want to embrace new, different sides of me. And I am unapologetically free in the sense of, I think I struggled at the beginning with not so much identity because I was quite comfortable with the fact that you do shift. And even as a human being, you don't have to have kids to change. You just grow up and you change. But I struggled a bit with missing elements of the old me or my old life. And I found that hard because I felt this pressure to love this new life so much because I had tried so hard to have kids and I have always wanted to have kids. And I adored being a mum, but I just was finding the balance, right?
Yeah,
and
sure.
I missed spontaneously going out, or I missed having a sofa day. I missed, all of a sudden your life, and especially when I went from 1 to 2, is just relentlessly demanding.
Yeah.
Your life is relentlessly demanding.
Yeah.
There is always somebody who needs a snack, a feed, a nap. Your timing, you schedule your whole day, you time everything, you have to be organized. Your brain is constantly like tick, 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 tick. Even when you go to bed, you're like, who's waking up next? Like, and it can just feel relentless.
Yeah.
And it can just feel draining. And that's okay. Yeah. So at the beginning, I found, with Elle, I kind of moved around quite freely with her, without her, because again, she was fairly laid back. With the two of them, I was already feeling so emotionally and physically overwhelmed and drained that I just kept adding more and more to my plate because I was chasing something. I was chasing the old me because I was like, if I escape and if I do this and if I go here. And there was parts of me that are thinking that's unhealthy. And then I just learned to balance it a little bit better because I realized, no, I still needed those things.
Yeah.
I had to have a break. Every couple of months, I needed to be able to have a night away. I needed to go to Glastonbury. I needed to go to Ibiza for the weekend. I needed that for me because it made me reconnect with what I love in life outside of my kids, because I love other things. I love to dance. I love to laugh. I love, which you could do all those things with your kids, but in between all the other stuff, you know? I love going away with Mark and just reconnecting with him. And it makes me a better mum when I am reconnecting with other things that I love in life. And I do think it's really important that women should unapologetically do what they need to do. And if you want to stay at home all the time, by the way, and be a mum 24/7, cool. If that's what makes you happy, amazing. Being a mum makes me happy, but I do need the other stuff. So I am definitely now just learning how to balance it a little bit better. And I'm not apologizing anymore for wanting those things. And I suppose that comes into that reframing guilt. Like, I do think mums need to hear more, or parents need to hear more of, you don't have to love every minute. You absolutely do not have to love every minute. You will love most of the minutes, but
not all of them.
And that's okay.
That's why this pod, and I've got other things that I want to build my community of women. I want to build my village of women, because it's so important to have that community around you of support, of people just going, it's all right. That's all you want to be told sometimes. You're not alone with your thoughts. You're not alone with how you feel. Most mothers go through it. It's just finding where they are.
And being able to say, if you're finding it hard, it's because it is.
Yeah, exactly.
I always felt like I had to be good at everything. And because I'd always wanted kids, and because I was always told I was great with kids, I think I have done an amazing job. I think I am a great mum. And I love my kids and I love me as a mum. But I do find it hard sometimes.
Yeah.
Not all the time. And some people find it harder than others. But I think we need to kind of be like in passing, like, yeah, it is hard. It is hard.
And sometimes, you know, I say to my sister as well, because again, she does have mum guilt quite a lot. And I'll say, listen, when you go to bed at night, you say to yourself, like you would do your child, I've done my best. And today's best might look different from yesterday's best, which might look different to tomorrow's best, because every single day we've got different things that affect our energy, what we're capable of doing, like how much we can pour in, how much patience we have. It's an ever-changing thing.
Yeah.
You can't expect of yourself to have the same tolerance and the same joy and the same. That's not life.
Yeah.
We wouldn't expect that of our children. So don't expect it of yourself.
Yeah.
Every night you go to bed, you might have lost your shit 80% of the time. Listen, today I did my best and that's it. That's all I ask of you. It's all I can ask of myself.
Yeah.
And even saying that at bedtime to your child. You know, I've said to Lenny understands that mummy's got pregnancy rage. I've talked to him about hormones. I've talked to him about, well, it's because he understands when I'm during my period and everything. Yeah. Because I might get a bit snappy. And I say, it's not because, you know, I'm not a patient person anymore, but mummy's just got, and so say example, he's doing something and I'll go, Lenny, and he goes, you're not in the mood, are you? And I'll go, no, mate, just give me 5 minutes. And he goes, all right. And like, he understands, like getting your child to understand where you're at, gets them to understand where they're at. So,
I think that's so important. And it takes the pressure away from them, like to be the perfect child. Because we need to stop feeling guilty about the bad days and feeling like we're a bad mum. Yeah. We are not a bad mum. No. We are human. Your kids are human. We're human. And then I do think we need to get better at advocating for ourselves and asking for what we need, right? Yeah. And I do feel like sometimes there's this shame or guilt about asking for a break because we should be able to do it all the time. Yeah. And I, you know, we've talked about a lot about how we can help ourselves. And I'm like, so a friend of mine, I love her to bits. She often sends these photos at like 9 o'clock at night where she'll say to her husband, oh, I'm just dropping something to the post office. It's 9 o'clock at night. There's no post office open. And then she sends a photo of us with a Diet Coke and a glass of wine. Yeah. And she's like, just at the post office again. But she's going out and like having that moment. There's been times where and Mark will listen to this for the first time, where when I went back after my first mat leave to work and I would go to London for the day for meetings, I would say, I missed the train. Or I had a meeting that maybe had got cancelled, that I could have got the train that I would make home for bedtime. I would purposely not get that train. And like we were doing it secretly. And then I got to the stage where I was like, why am I doing this secretly? I should just be able to say I'm not I need to tap out now for a minute.
I've seen that reel when the mum gets out the car, she's got 2 kids in the back, or she's strapped them in and then she shuts the door and it's like, the most peaceful part of your day is walking from the door round the car to get back in your side, and she goes in slow motion, like, because it's just that gap of time of just they're strapped in. Let me just take the time to get round to the other side.
That's not even peaceful because I can hear through mommy, 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 mommy. Like, honest to God, like who would ever know that mummy would be like my least favorite word at some points in time. I struggled with what I thought I needed to that need, in inverted commas, actually became a bit of a toxic trait. So my relationship with alcohol became quite complex after having kids.
Right.
And obviously you've been sober for 5 years, right? Yeah. So, you know, I don't know. Were you drinking? You were drinking when Lenny was born.
Yeah.
Right. I maybe you didn't find this. Some people, it's the complete opposite. They can't have a drink at all. And for me, it wasn't that I was drinking loads. I just had to have a drink nearly every night. You know, it was my de-stressor. And lots of people will relate to that. They'll be like, oh, yeah. And there's no judgment to that. Like, loads of people have a glass or 2 of wine every night. Yeah. That wasn't the problem. The problem for me came where all of a sudden I got to the point where I couldn't not have it. Mm-hmm. And it was absolutely a dependency. Yeah. So I would be like, you know, I'm on maternity leave, so I would have the 2 kids. I'd just be shook by the end of the day if it was a bad day. And again, let's be fair, like parenting also can be extremely monotonous, right?
yeah.
Nobody prepared me for the schedule,
Yeah.
right? And the schedule is the same every day. And oh my God, there is so many laughs and cuddles and cute bits in between.
Yeah.
But it is same.
Yeah.
That, the monotony can get really draining after a while.
Yeah.
So I would be like desperate for them to go to bed.
So you could have your wine.
So I could have my wine.
Yeah.
And I could
Very
decompress.
common.
Did you have that experience with alcohol?
Oh, yeah.
When you had Lenny?
Yeah. I remember one night in particular when, it's funny, they say, sleep when the baby sleeps and whatever. He was awake. He wasn't screaming, but he was just bing, wide awake, rolling around. I remember bringing him down and I was just, please sleep. And he wasn't crying. He was just kicking about. But I was so desperate for him to just be in sleepy land.
Yeah.
I was just exhausted, and I think it was about 2:00 in the morning, and I was just drinking Budweiser after Budweiser, just looking at him. I was crying, just drinking.
Yeah.
I lived for my blowouts. I lived for, his grandparents taking him. I wouldn't have a blowout unless he was sleeping out, but he'd sleep out, and then that was my release.
Yeah.
So it wasn't necessarily an everyday, but when he was first born, anyone came round, I was like, whatever time it was Prosecco time. Like, you want Prosecco? Like, let's toast Lenny being here.
And again, we're not judging, because like
No,
some
not at all.
people would listen and be like,
and-
I love that. That's my day.
Yeah.
And it's not, it got to a point where I remember Mark looked at me one night and he wasn't being mean. I was making a cup of tea or something with dinner. He was like, oh, you're not having your wine tonight? And I was like, I got really defensive. I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean my wine? You say that like I have it every night. And he's like, but you do. And he's like, not in a bad way. I get it. Like, you're just relaxing. You're decompressing after the kids. But in your own body and mind where you start feeling uncomfortable with something. And you're
exactly,
like, my relationship with alcohol isn't feeling healthy now.
And that's it. Like, so I do a lot of work with sobriety and stuff like that. And people say, well, what equates to you're not an alcoholic, so you're not drinking when you wake up.
Yeah.
Why are you quitting? And it's like, there is, like everything, a range. Yeah. So there's like a whole range of what an unhealthy relationship looks like with alcohol. People are like, well, you weren't an alcoholic, so why have you even kind of? Because for me, it wasn't a healthy thing. So if something's unhealthy for you, you are well within your rights to knock it on the head. And I think a lot in our culture, and I say this again quite often, there is nothing else that you can do that will mellow you, that will switch you off, that will calm you down as quickly as, say, a glass of wine or
it's that immediate
else.
Dopamine.
There
here,
is, there is nothing else. So people say like, well, what do you do then? What do you do then? And I'm telling you now, nothing switches me off as quickly as a bottle of Budweiser or a Prosecco. It's a newfound way of relaxation for me. And like you said earlier about, it's the one thing you were kind of thinking about, like, get to the end of the day and I'll have that. It was just habitual, like anything else in your day. Like you said, the monotony of your children. That glass of wine was also pretty monotonous. It was just part of your lifestyle.
Yeah, that's it. It's a habit.
It's a habit.
And it's when you feel, and because I'm a control freak in a way, I couldn't break the habit. It controlled me more than I controlled it, which was scary for me. And as they say, it takes, is it 21 days to start a habit and 21 days to kick it? And I'm not kicking alcohol, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm not at the point where I feel like I need to be sober. Anyone who knows me knows I love a drink.
Yeah.
And I love to have a good time. And you don't necessarily need to have drink to do that. But it was my control over the situation.
Yeah.
And really, it wasn't necessarily about the alcohol. It was that I felt I was spiraling.
Yeah.
And I was using that to try and numb the pain a little bit.
Yeah.
Since then, I've now kind of talked more openly about the spiral. I'm accepting the hard parts of parenting a little bit more. I'm accepting my part in it. I'm going back to the gym. And to get me out of the habit, I said to Mark, look, when the kids are in bed, can I go for a run or can I go to the gym? Because at least if I got out the house, I wasn't just automatically going and opening the bottle of wine,
Yeah, and something else as well, a girl from work said to me, so what do you do then? Because like I'm really stressed, like I'm up here, and there's no, what do you do to bring yourself down again? And the longer you say abstain from something that's going to give you such a quick calming effect, the longer you abstain from that, the lower the peak of that stress actually gets. So because the extremities of how quickly you can mellow compared to how fast you've hit up there, if you're just not using that, the drink or I don't know, whatever you use to chill yourself out quickly, if that is no longer an option for you, those big spikes become little dips that don't take as much to bring you back down again.
Yeah.
So for me, if I'm feeling like overwhelmed or whatever, a walk will bring me back down, and it's pretty steady. I'm not like and then and then It's not so spiky.
Yeah.
And again, it's just something that if you've only ever given alcohol the chance to bring you down, then you would never even think to lean on anything else or give anything else a try. So I will often be heard saying, how many times have you allowed yourself to say, go to a party without alcohol and have a good time? How many chances have you given that? Not probably often.
And I didn't even notice it when I was pregnant. I could go and have a great time. I mean, if anyone sees me dancing on a table in the near future, that won't change. Mama's lit. And it may not be alcohol induced. I love a good time. I love a party, all the rest. And you do, the whole pregnancy, I didn't even miss drink.
Oh, I did.
Oh, I didn't.
Because
and I thought to myself, I'll never, maybe I won't drink after this.
You did.
No. I love a drink.
People say that to me, though, like, well, how did you find it when you were pregnant with Lenny? And I hated going to to parties. I was like, you can all fuck off. You're all on another level, and I'm not allowed to get there because I really shouldn't be drinking, so I'm not going to have a drink. So it was like it was forced upon me, and I hated it.
Yeah.
So then I resisted it. Whereas, because people say, oh no, when I was pregnant, I hated not drinking. I don't think I'd ever not be able to drink. But when you are in control of that choice, it's a totally different experience.
Yeah.
So now, obviously, I go out and I'll socialise and that is a choice. So it's not something I'm pushing against or that something's been enforced on me because I don't like being told what to do.
Yeah.
So it's a different experience when you flip who's in control.
So kind of, overall, I think we're just trying to say, be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
Be kind to other people. Everyone's experience is so different.
Yeah.
And as you said earlier, what you feel one day can be completely different to how you feel the next day.
Yeah.
Stop putting so much pressure on yourself. The perfect parent, the perfect mother, it doesn't exist. No. The perfect kids, whatever, it just does not exist. And unfortunately, social media, and I'm guilty of pushing this narrative as well, is not real. It's just not. And let's kind of be more open about the good days, the bad days. And if someone's having really bad days, put your arms around them. Give them a hand, help them out. Don't fucking judge them.
Yeah, no judging Janices, please.
Yeah. Karen,
just makes it
feels
worse.
So bad for anyone who's called Karen anymore. She's just gone.
Yeah.
Again, we would love to hear experiences.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you relay? Is this what you needed to hear?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think also not caring what people think. I have thought about this podcast quite a bit and thought, not everyone's going to agree with what we say. Not everyone's going to have positive things to say, but I also don't care. It's about opening up the conversation. It's about a judgment-free zone. We've said that together. So, I mean, comment, please. I
couldn't agree more. Everyone's experience and journey is their own.
Totally.
And it's not about comparison at all. It's just about if there is someone out there that has had a tough day and they don't want to feel so alone and that they're the only ones and they're dealing with the 20th tantrum of the day in the middle of the street, everyone's staring at you. Yeah. You go to a restaurant, there's crap all over the floor because all your kids do is throw everything. Yeah. You're just stimulated, overstimulated, mentally and physically drained. Yeah. There is someone out there feeling the same way.
Exactly. Yeah. You are not alone.
Yeah. So as always, DM us, comment on our socials, or send us an email at motherloadingpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah.
All right. See you next time.
See you next time.
Right, see you later, sweetie.
See you later.
That was sweetie.